The perspective of Islam on terrorism, particularly religiously motivated terrorism, is a subject of intense discussion within the Muslim world and between Muslims and non-Muslims. Here is a detailed breakdown of the Islamic perspective, drawing directly from the Quran and Hadith, and the contemporary scholarly consensus. The overwhelming consensus, clear condemnation. The overwhelming majority of Islamic scholars and Muslims worldwide condemn terrorism in the strongest possible terms. They argue that acts of mass violence against civilians are a gross violation of core Islamic principles. Their position is built on several key pillars from the primary sources. 1. The sanctity of human life. The Quran elevates the value of human life to the highest degree. Quran 5:32. Whoever kills a soul unless for a soul or for corruption, done in the land it is as if he had slain mankind entirely. And whoever saves one it is as if he had saved mankind entirely. This verse is central to the argument. Killing an innocent person is equated with killing all of humanity. Quran 6:151. And do not kill the soul which Allah has forbidden to be killed, except by legal right. This establishes a divine prohibition against taking life without legitimate justification. 2. The prohibition of aggression and transgression. Islam permits fighting in specific, limited circumstances but strictly forbids aggression and targeting non-combatants. Quran 2:190. Fight in the way of Allah those who fight you but do not transgress. Indeed, Allah does not like transgressors. The command, do not transgress, is interpreted by scholars as a prohibition against starting hostilities, killing civilians, destroying property, and using excessive force. Quran 60:8. Allah does not forbid you from those who do not fight you because of religion and do not expel you from your homes from being righteous toward them and acting justly toward them. Indeed, Allah loves those who act justly. This verse explicitly commands Muslims to treat peaceful non-Muslims with kindness and justice. 3. The rules of warfare in the Hadith. The Prophet Muhammad established clear rules of engagement that explicitly forbid what we today would call terrorism. Prohibition of killing women, children, and the elderly. The Prophet consistently instructed his armies, do not kill women, children, old men, or religious figures in monasteries. Multiple hadith sources. Prohibition of treachery and mutilation. He forbade killing by treachery, e.g., surprise attacks under a peace treaty, and mutilating the bodies of the dead. Prohibition of destroying infrastructure. He instructed not to destroy villages, cut down trees, or kill animals unnecessarily. These rules establish a classical Islamic code of military ethics that is fundamentally at odds with modern terrorist tactics which deliberately target civilians, public spaces, and use treachery. 4. The condemnation of hiraba, unlawful warfare. Classical Islamic law has a specific category of crime called hiraba, banditry, waging war against society, which accurately describes modern terrorism. The punishment for this is severe because of the societal terror it creates. Quran 5:33-34. Indeed, the penalty for those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger and strive upon earth, to cause corruption is none but that they be killed or crucified or that their hands and feet be cut off from opposite sides or that they be exiled from the land. That is for them a disgrace in this world, and for them in the hereafter is a great punishment, except for those who return, repenting, before you apprehend them. While the punishment is extreme, the key point is that the act itself, waging war to spread corruption and terror on earth, is considered one of the most heinous crimes in Islam. How do extremist groups justify their actions? This is the critical part of the discussion. Groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS do not operate in a theological vacuum. They use a selective and highly controversial interpretation of Islamic texts to build their ideology. Their justifications, which are rejected by the vast majority of Muslims, include redefining civilians. They argue that in modern democracies, citizens pay taxes and vote for governments that wage war on Muslims, making them complicit and thus legitimate targets. This view completely contradicts the classical and mainstream prohibition against killing non-combatants. The concept of takfir, excommunication. They extensively use takfir, declaring other Muslims who do not agree with their extreme ideology to be apostates. This allows them to justify killing other Muslims, which is otherwise a major sin. Selective literalism. They take verses revealed in the context of specific, historical battles against polytheists who had broken treaties and persecuted Muslims, e.g., Quran 9:5, the verse of the sword, and apply them universally and out of context, while ignoring the dozens of verses promoting peace, justice, and restraint. The no innocence fallacy. They operate on the belief that the entire modern world is at war with Islam, creating a state of perpetual, defensive jihad where traditional rules of engagement can be suspended. This is a modern, ideological innovation with no basis in classical Islamic jurisprudence. Conclusion. The mainstream versus extremist view. In summary, the Islamic perspective on terrorism is bifurcated. The mainstream Islamic perspective, rooted in the Quran and Hadith, it holds that terrorism is a grave sin and a major crime, hiraba. It violates the sanctity of life, the prohibition of aggression, and the specific rules of warfare laid down by the Prophet Muhammad. Protecting innocent life, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, is a core religious obligation. The extremist perspective, a modern, heterodox ideology that uses selective and decontextualized proofs from the primary sources. It is built on the concepts of takfir and the global war narrative, which are rejected by the overwhelming majority of Islamic scholars and lay Muslims alike. When mainstream Muslim scholars and organizations condemn terrorism, they are not just being politically correct. They are asserting what they believe is the authentic, classical teaching of Islam against a modern, violent innovation. The theological battle against extremist ideology is, for them, a fight for the soul of their faith.